149 of Coffee and Co-Read, your source for all things literary, with Catherine
and Kristen, where we believe there's nothing better than a hot coffee and an awesome book. Join us for our virtual book club where we take one book a month and dive into all the drama, adventure, and romance we can find. Hi, Catherine.
Hey, Kristen.
So, it is, I guess, the first episode of
the year.
Yes, first episode of 2025. Woot, woot. So.
Sorry.
I know.
It was good. I
I'm
liked
showing
it.
my age here. So this is, so I guess first off, we thought we'd just chat a little bit about how we found 2024 for reading in general.
Yeah.
And like, you know, did you have goals? Did you surpass your goals? Did you, what's up?
I very much underpassed my goals, failed my goals, I guess, but I don't really consider it failing because, like, I've had years when I've been, like, very diligent about, like, reading a certain number of books, but I feel like I'm kind of over that. So I don't really want to feel like I failed because, you know, that's, like, ugh.
Yeah.
But I only read 39 books in 2024, and that's, like, including our, as we'll get to in a second, 13 books we read this year for the podcast. So, like, it really isn't that many. I'm not 100% sure if I missed some. I'm going to have a look. But that's what I currently have in my story graph is 39 books. So, yeah, fun times. So, I'd like to have read more. I had a really busy summer, and then I've kind of been in a slump, I feel like, since then. So, it just kind of is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what about you? How was your year for reading?
I think I actually did really good this year. I did have a goal on, Goodreads. I did, my goal was to read 75, and I did surpass it. I read 85.
Nice.
Yeah. And I can't remember if I included all the books that we did on here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't remember if I put those in. So.
Those are the ones I usually miss, too, for some reason.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think I did well. I'm hoping next year to do even better. Like, my TBR is huge. I keep going to the bookstore and buying books, and then they just sit on my shelf, and I don't read them.
Yeah.
But I'm blaming it in part on my master's work.
Mm-hmm.
And I only have one semester left, so I'm really hoping that after I finish all that, I will have time to maybe knock a few out of my... But, like, the thing that I find hard about, well, not even just this year, every year, I just find it so hard because I get into moods where I want a certain something.
Mm-hmm.
And not a lot of times, but, like, usually the books on my shelf aren't going to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened to me this Christmas. I brought 5 books with me to Labrador. I read 2, and then I was in the mood for, like, a fantasy book. And I didn't have one. So I was like, well, now I'm not going to read anything. So,
yeah.
You know.
I don't know if you've seen these ads, but I feel like it's because I've done clickbaited, you know how, like, you know how there are these book apps that are, like, really terrible self-edited books.
Yeah.
And they, like, show up on your social media and they give you, like, a snippet. And then they're like, download this app to read the rest.
Yeah.
And a part of you is like, oh, no. But then a part of you is also, like, hooked.
What happens next? Yeah. 100%.
So, I get a lot of those on my social media feed because I've read them before and I've gotten hooked before. But now I've been getting, so again, ever, like, read a book and be like, oh my god, I would love for this to be a movie?
Yeah.
And so I keep getting these ads now for, like, books, but they're filmed by really terrible, like Z actors.
Yeah.
That maybe got, like, $20 to film this thing.
Yeah.
A lot of times they're not even, like, they have accents and, like, you can tell that that English is not their first language and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's like Story Reel or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I keep getting an ad for the same one lately. It's like a mafia boss one. So now I really want to read something about a mafia boss.
Yeah. Yeah. I've gotten a few ads for that, and I did download one of them, and, like, you had to wait so many days to get, like, enough coins, because I was like, I'm not spending money to watch this. I cannot. So I just, like, waited so many days until I could finally finish it.
So,
like, this is,
I did that before, and I actually did spend money on it, because I didn't want to wait.
That's fair.
So that's why I keep getting ads for stuff like that, because they know I'm a sucker.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'll wait for anything if I don't have to pay.
I'm the opposite. I'm like, what? Money? It's throw it
well,
away.
Yeah, and, like, it is kind of true, because, like, you're gonna buy books anyway, so it's like, why not?
Yeah. Anyway, I know it's not really about my year in books, but it's something that I've struggled with this year.
Fair.
But yeah, so hopefully I'll finish my master's in April, and then I can, like, get started, because, like, I've got a bunch of books that I bought that I really want to read.
Yeah, me too.
I just bought...
But I don't want to read them.
I actually just bought Quicksilver. I know Quicksilver is, like, all over everywhere.
Yeah.
Lately, so it's big.
It is big. I just bought it too.
Thick.
I just got it in the mail because I ordered it for myself, and then Jeff got it for me for Christmas too. So I have 2 copies at the moment, but I can bring one back.
But, like, this is why I refuse to buy any books before Christmas, because I was like, I don't know what people are going to get me. And you know what I got? Big fat nothing in terms of books.
Oh, really?
Nobody bought me any books like, you know, you got me thanks to your niece, I got Powerless.
Oh, yes. I was like, I didn't get you a book, I don't think. I remember what I got you. I completely forgot.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I didn't get any books, but I feel like people are just afraid to buy books for me.
Yeah, that's fair. Because, like, people generally assume I already have them.
Mm-hmm. And, like, people know who my favorite author is, but I've already read everything.
Exactly.
So, like, what else can you do?
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we'll get into this extra special episode. So, we're going to do a review of the books that we read last year, our top 10.
Mm-hmm.
So, we actually ended up reading 13 books last year because of the way it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Because we read 3 books in 2 months with our tandem read and Assassin's Blade. But we're just going to compare and contrast our top 10 out of those. And then kind of just, like, have a little chat about them, I guess.
Yeah, and we do not know each other's top 10. It is a surprise for the both of us.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some redactions happening and some
private
docs. Yeah, so neither of us know what we've picked for our top 10.
I do have a feeling I know at least one book that is in neither of our top 10s. Possibly 2 of the ones that aren't in either of our top 10s. But
we'll see.
That's just a guess. I think it's number 13 and number 12 for me. I have a feeling number 13 you're going to have in you're not in your top 10, what I had for number 13 and what I had for my 12th. I think you won't have, but you might.
Okay. We'll see.
But we'll see after.
We will see. I think you're going to be surprised.
Yeah, the first time we did this, we didn't do this last year because we just didn't have time, but the year before we did it, and it was surprising to me where you put some books. So it's a bit of fun. So, do you want to start us off with your number 10?
Yes. I will start us off with number 10. So, my number 10 was actually The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. I thought it was really cute, had some feel-good moments. It was an easy read for December, and which was a really busy month for both of us, so I thought it was a really good choice. I really appreciated the levity of it. Like, I feel like maybe part of the reason why I enjoyed it so much was a timing issue, too. Like, I enjoyed how light and easy breezy it was, especially, like, for such a busy month, and also after reading Iron Flame in November.
Yeah.
It just made, like, that contrast really made me, it just really did it for me. So.
Yeah. Iron Flame was a large month of reading, and then to go to a nice, easy, fast read was nice.
Yeah. So, that was my number 10.
Fun. So my number 10 was our extra book, which I'm like, I don't even know if it counts, but I'm counting it, was Assassin's Blade. Because I like it, but I don't love it. But I do love Sarah J. Maas, and I do love Selena Aylin combo.
Yeah.
So I guess we read it in July and August of last year, and we kind of did it in our preamble. But I like the backstory. I like how it connects to things. It's not one of my favorite books of any of Sarah J. Maas's, really. So
yeah, I be honest and say that, like, that book, I appreciate it, but I'll be honest and say that the whole debate over whether you read it first or whether you read it third or fourth or whatever kind of poisons it for me a little bit. Like, I don't know, the fact that there's so much debate about it, I'm sort of just like, just like, do it the way I want.
It doesn't matter, or do it the way that you want them to.
Yes, please.
I can't imagine reading it first and then actually caring about the series. It's just like, it's kind of a hassle to get through, and if you don't care about the characters, like, why would you want? I don't know. I also don't like reading it where I do read it, because I'm like, I read it after Heir of Fire, but then when I finish Heir of Fire, I'm like, I don't want to read this shit when I do a reread. So, like, I don't know. I do like the stories. I like how it all fits in. The puzzle pieces are fun, but it is really one of those books that I've read, like, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the puzzle pieces, but that's why I like reading it not first, because I don't, like, if you read it first, you don't get it. Like, you don't understand the nods.
Yeah, and you also, like, you might forget some of the shit that happens that then comes up in, say, Tower of Dawn, Empire of Storms, Kingdom of Ash.
Yeah. And then, too, on top of that, I just find that whole, my name is Sam Cortland, I will not be afraid. Like, that just, to me, that just hits different.
Yeah.
When you already know, like, the premise, like, my name is Selena Sardathian, like, and I will not, like, you know what I mean? Like, it hits different.
Yeah.
So.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's my number 10.
Lovely. Okay, number 9. My number 9 is Ashes and the Star-Crossed King.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so we read Ashes and the Star-Crossed King in October. And it was the sequel to Serpent and the Wings of Night. I enjoyed the clue up of Araya and Rain's story. But so it's almost like they tried to pack in too much.
Yeah, I remember the first book so much better than the second book, and I only read each of them once, but the first book, like, stuck with me, and I loved the story, and the second book was kind of like the wrap-up. I liked it, but I didn't like it as much.
Yeah, which is why it is my number 9, because I didn't, like, it wasn't as good. Again, I feel like they were trying to fit too much story in one book.
Yeah.
And, like, it also wasn't that long either. So, like...
Yeah.
It just didn't... It didn't hit the same way the first book did.
Yeah, I agree. My number 9 is Kingdom of the Cursed by Carrie Maniscalco. So this is also a second book in a series, which is fun. But we read this book in September, and it's the second book in the Kingdom of the Wicked series. I liked it.
Yes. It was fine.
But,
it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. But, like, there was just so many things that, like, obviously, if you've read it, you're like, so obviously she's promised to him, but we're talking about the devil and, like, all of this stuff, and you're like, we're not gonna have a completely different love interest that we've never met. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. That never shows up.
Yeah. So yeah, I liked it, but it very much was a second book in a trilogy, it feels like. Yeah. And, like, I haven't read the third one yet, so I don't know what it's going to be like. But I feel like there is a bit of a lull in the middle book in trilogies because you're, like, trying to get to the big reveals and stuff. And, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's a second book in a trilogy.
Yeah.
That's my reasoning.
Yeah. That's good. Funny enough, so moving on to number 8.
Yeah.
I put Kingdom of the Cursed.
Do you want to know what's even funnier? What my number 8 is? My number 8 is The Ashes and the Star-Crossed King.
Yeah, and to be fair, I could totally swap these out, like, interchange them. They're about the
me
same,
too.
Like, just sort of, like you said, very much second book syndrome.
Yeah.
I found in Kingdom of the Curse there was not enough sexy moments, which is sort of, it's promised. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
You read that type of book, you're sort of expecting a little steam. And I don't think we got enough. Yeah. And I sort of got tired of hearing her deny her feelings and try, like, she was just a broken record. Yeah. And I needed her to get over it.
Yeah, she was a broken record, but there was also, like, moments where she was just putting shit together that I was like, this doesn't make sense. Why are you making these conclusions?
Yeah.
So, for somebody who says the same shit over and over, you'd think she'd explain how she got to her conclusions.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's really funny, because both of our books are...
Yeah.
Basically, we're on the same page for these two.
Yeah.
But yeah, I felt the same way. Like, I loved Rain and Araya in The Ashes and the Star-Crossed King. But I just liked the first book a whole lot better. And it was a good book. I would definitely recommend people read both of them. And I'm excited to read the new duology, too, at some point.
Yeah, I do think it's out, the third book.
Yeah, it is. I keep seeing snippets because I have the author on Instagram. Like, I just follow her. And I keep seeing snippets from it, and it seems spicy, so I'm excited.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think Misha's gonna kill it as a main character.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 7 is Serpent and the Wings of Night.
Funny.
Is it?
It's not mine, but It is funny that, yeah.
So I really liked it. I liked their relationship. I liked the Hunger Games-y vibe. And I appreciated the plot structure. I don't know why, but I just appreciated that it was sort of formulaic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, okay, here's the setup. okay, here's task 1, task 2, task 3, and
Yeah.
the twist at the end was really good. It had a decent amount of action, and also I liked the build-up of their chemistry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought that, I appreciated that.
Yeah, I liked how it was written. It wasn't like insta-love, and it wasn't like, I don't know, it was like, a build-up of trust and feelings and stuff.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Yeah. So that was my 7.
Yeah, and we read that one in January, which was a bajillion years ago.
It was
but
a bajillion years ago.
Actually, it was 1 year ago. Stupid. Sorry. My number 7, I think it's just funny because my number 7 is Kingdom of the Wicked, which is just the first book in the other series we were just talking about. But we read Kingdom of the Wicked in April of last year. I liked it. Yep. I did. I liked it. I don't really know what to say about it. It was pretty good. Definitely wasn't my favorite book, obviously, we read this year, but, like, I liked the premise and, like, meeting all the different characters. I do think it was better than the second book, mostly because it was the introduction and, like, you didn't really know where it was going, and it was interesting that, like, the character development in it, which was also, like, she's the good twin, and then she becomes bad. Or angry all the time.
Good
and stuff.
twin,
You're like,
bad
okay.
twin. Ugh.
Yeah. Which I feel like we're probably going to get some of that in the next book, based on the ending of the second book.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my number 7. I just, it's a number 7.
Yeah. My number 6 is Kingdom of the Wicked. So again, I could sort of swap these two. They're sort of about the same for me. I did really enjoy, like, the Italian setting of this book versus the sequel. There's no Italianness at all.
Yeah.
All the food talk I really enjoyed because she was at her parents' restaurant all the time.
Yeah. I think we even talked about it, like, we want a recipe book for some of the stuff that she makes.
Yeah.
Like, agreed.
I liked the chemistry, but I did find, like, there were some inconsistencies and some of her leaps were slightly confusing and, you know, so, yeah. It was good. I'm excited for you to read the last book because it's, like, there are so many, like, what?
Yeah. I kind of wonder if that's why you have it above, like, higher numbered than the Serpent and the Wings of Night duology, because, like, obviously I've finished the duology, I know the story.
Yeah.
I haven't finished the trilogy, so, like, I wonder if you have, like, a higher spot for it because the third book really pulls it together.
Yeah.
Which I haven't done yet.
Yeah, no, and I do think there's probably some truth to that because, like, I think the first book is probably the best in terms of the writing. But the third book is just, like, it honestly answers so many questions, and it's not at all what you would think happens.
Oh, okay,
it's just very much like, oh my god, really? So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm excited to get into that at some point.
Yeah.
So my number 6 is, oh my god, sorry, is The Nightmare Before Christmas. Yeah, so I read this before we did it on the podcast, but I just read it in a day on a weekend when I was just home, and it just kind of was like, I don't know, it kind of just got me back to reading-ish. Like, I've just been struggling a lot with reading this year, but it was just nice to actually sit down and just enjoy a book and not because we were doing it for a podcast, you know? And then we did it for the podcast. So it was kind of more so for that first read than the second read. But it is just a cute book, and it's just an easy read.
Yeah.
And I appreciated it.
Yeah. I do appreciate, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago when we read the book, I just appreciate the treatment of the male main character, like the couple.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not
the writing of it. It's
So
it's not glossed over,
No.
and it's not like either hypersexualized or like hyper romanticized or fantasized. It's
yeah. Okay, so number 5 is, for me, I think you're going to be very shocked.
I wonder if it's mine.
I think you're going to be so shocked.
Okay.
Tower of Dawn.
Oh, what the fuck?
I know. So I actually think I rated...
How?
Okay, so I need to explain.
You didn't even want to read it again.
I know. But, so I think my issue with Tower of Dawn is that Queen of Shadows makes me detest him with all that I have.
Yeah.
So it's why I don't want to read about him, because he is such a douche.
Yeah.
But I rated it so highly because I can't fault the writing.
Okay.
Right? Like, she actually makes me want to, like, when we were doing the tandem read, there were moments when I was like, oh, I need to go on ahead. I can't stop here. I need to, like, read another chapter.
Yeah.
So like, the fact that she can make me do that about a dude that I detest, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I had to put it there. And it also makes me slightly like, when I'm reading it, I'm not entirely against him.
Yeah.
Plus, he's not the only character in there.
Yes, that's very true.
Right? So, like, I appreciate some of the other characters that exist in that book. I really like other storylines.
Nesrin and Sartak.
Yes, Nesrin and Sartak are adorable, and I love them. But, like, obviously I still have massive eye rolls about getting his little wifey all prego. She's so delicate.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Just makes me want to, like, puke. But yeah, it's more because the book actually, like, when it did come out, I hated that it came out.
Yes.
But I read it, and I read it very quickly. Because the writing was good.
Yeah. I feel like I just have a chip on my shoulder about it because it did come out. And, like, I know that's not the fault of the book, but it did come out and we were waiting for Kingdom of Ash, and I was like, why couldn't this story come out before Empire of Storms even? Like, I might not have hated it as much then. And the fact that, like, so many of the big reveals are in that book was also kind of annoying, because it's like, you have to read it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I know I'm judging it harshly based on those things, but
I also will say that I think reading it in reading it tandem is definitely the way to go.
Oh, definitely. Yes, I agree.
I don't think I would have rated it as highly as I have if we did it on its own.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh my god, I can't imagine what it would have been like if we did it on its own.
Yeah.
We would have been insufferable.
Yes.
Not gonna lie.
We would have been complaining all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was July and August that we did the tandem read. My number 5 might surprise you, potentially. But my number 5 is A Court of Silver Flames.
It doesn't surprise me.
No. So we read that in May. And obviously it's Sarah J. Maas as well. I guess I didn't really connect with Nesta as much as I thought I would. Because, like, a lot of people connect with her and, like, go on the emotional journey with her. And that's why they love the book so much. But I just feel like I don't know, I didn't connect with her very much, even though I kind of felt like I should be able to. And I almost feel like there was just too much smut in it, which is, like, a weird thing for me, but, like, I love a smut book. Like, if a book is just smut, I can read that. But this book I just felt like was supposed to be super about character development. And then there was just like too much, but then they weren't talking about their feelings. It was like a miscommunication. I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. And I also struggle in series when it goes from one main character to a different person.
Yeah.
And then you see, like, obviously we saw Rhys, and it was like, he doesn't act like that. And we saw Feyre, and we were like, why is she frail and unable to do anything? So, you know, all that too. Yeah.
No, I actually agree with you now that you're laying all that out there. I'm like, oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And, like, I love her sex scenes. I like that people like Nesta after it. I didn't hate Nesta as much as you did before the book.
Yeah.
Either, but I don't know. And then the whole storyline about them being able to, like, get to the top of Ramiel after, like, a month of training. I was like, this is wild.
It's like, I don't think that's true.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's where I put my number 5.
So my number 4 is Iron Flame.
Woo woo.
Yeah. So I thought it was a great continuation of Fourth Wing. It was entertaining. I will say that it's only a number 4 for me because, like, I sort of had to take into account that I did stop it.
Yeah.
Partway through and just didn't pick it back up. So, like,
yeah.
to me that says something. There is, I found there was a little bit of a lull. Sort of in the middle-ish. And also the whole, like, them having the same argument over and over again was a bit annoying. And the whole girl hating girl thing.
Yeah.
Was the girl against girl, like, was just like, really, do we have to do this?
Yeah, it was a bit too much.
Like, they have enough issues going on without that added in.
Yeah.
But I thought the reveals at the end were really cool. Like, you know, the whole Endarna truth bomb.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat.
And Xaden's second signet.
Yeah. And, you know, the whole, like, scene with the mom.
Yeah.
So
sad.
Yeah.
She had some redemption, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit, but, like, not as much as you would want.
Yeah.
Like, her only excuse for all of her behavior was, when you have children, you'll do whatever you can to keep them safe. And I'm like, yes. But that doesn't mean you get to be a bitch.
Yeah, I know. It's also like, I don't know, if you're living in this kind of world, your kids are never gonna be safe because you know what the world is like. So, like, if you're gonna have kids, you have to be okay with a little bit of risk because, you know, there are dragons, there are wyverns, like, you know, I don't know. Anyway, we can't do a whole other Iron Flame podcast here. My number 4 was The Serpent and the Wings of Night.
Oh. So,
yeah. I just loved the book. I got through it really quickly. I didn't want to put it down. I really like just the, like, Hunger Games vibe of it. You know, there's trials. There's, like there's structure to it. And you know where it's going. There's no, like, surprise, there's a bad guy that we didn't hear about before, but is brand new. Yeah. And you're like, wait, why did this happen? Which, cough, cough, also happened in Silver Flames. So yeah, I just really liked that you kind of knew where it was going. You knew the objective. I was just a really big fan of it. And then, like, their love story, I was so happy that they were, like, in love and together, and then they both got to live at the end. And then if I, like, stopped reading at that point before Rain made his wish,
yes,
it would have been a perfect book.
Yes.
So, yeah, perfect standalone book if you just stop reading a few pages early. But also, I'm glad that her father was killed. So, you know.
Yeah, he was a bit of a dick.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's my number 4.
Amazing. So my number 3, I think, is also going to be a surprise for you.
Okay.
It's Empire of Storms.
I'm not surprised based on what I know is left for you.
Okay. So my big thing is I rated it highly because, of course, it's Empire of Storms. It's so good. Obviously, the ending was heartbreaking, which is why I sort of only ranked it at 3 and not 2 or 1.
Yeah.
And also, I find that, like, while I find Tower of Dawn is lifted up through the tandem read, I sort of find Empire of Storms is, like, brought down, dragged down a little bit. So, like, you're waiting while you're reading the Tower of Dawn sections, you want to go back to Empire of Storms. And also, I just find Empire of Storms is a lot of Aelin planning. And like, we're going to go here, and now we're going to go here, and now we're going to go here. It's just a lot of, like, her setting things up.
It's almost a second book syndrome. I know it's obviously not the second book, but, like, it's kind of what we talked about in Kingdom of the Cursed, is where, like, it's setting us up for a finale, so there's going to be a bit of a, like, putting the pieces into place.
Yeah.
And it really is that kind of book. Yeah. My number 3 was Iron Flame. I loved Iron Flame. I am excited-ish about the next book coming out very soon. I don't know what to expect, but I really liked it. I didn't reread it until we did the podcast, so I actually liked it better the second read through, because, like, what I could remember of it from the first read was the cattiness with Kat, which I didn't like, and the miscommunication. So I feel like I built those two things up in my head really big, which, like, part of it wasn't really my fault, because, like, if you go on TikTok, if you go on Instagram, everyone's bitching about the miscommunication between them in this book. And I feel like that kind of made me dwell on it too. But then when I read it, I was like, it's not as bad as I thought it was. Like, it's annoying, but it's not as bad as I remembered. So I did really like the reread. And it was a good timing, since we're going to be doing, well, not that we're going to be doing, since I'm going to be reading the next book on January 21st when it comes out. So yeah, that's my 3.
Awesome. All right, number 2 for me is Court of Silver Flames. So obviously I really loved Nesta's story. Again, I did hate her a lot. So I think I appreciated that the book actually made me appreciate her.
Yeah.
And I just liked her growth. I liked that she found her own tribe. And I enjoyed that her journey was not the same as Feyre's. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a carbon copy of what Feyre went through. I enjoyed that she sort of, she had to go through her own trauma, but it also felt way more girl powery. Like, it seemed like she relied on the girls more than she relied on the love interest.
Yes.
Whereas Feyre was the opposite, right? Like, Rhys is really the one that pulled her out.
Yeah.
Of her sort of mental health, like, trauma stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas in Nesta
was pulled out by her friends.
Yeah, and I just appreciated that. And
me too.
I really enjoyed the sexy bits.
Yeah. I did not enjoy them. I was just like, they just felt thrown in, I guess. And it felt like, this is an apology for Crescent City not having a lot of sex. Here's a bunch of sex.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. So, my number 2 is Empire of Storms.
Oh.
So for kind of a lot of the same reasons, I guess, I think I agree it was a bit harder to get through the tandem read than it would have been to read Empire of Storms on its own.
Mm-hmm.
The ending absolutely breaks my heart, but I feel like Kingdom of Ash, when you finally read Kingdom of Ash, it makes it way worse. So I'm holding out all my tears for that book, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the, just setting stuff up for the next book, it was a bit like, why are they going to the marsh to find this lock? And then it's like, the lock never really existed. You just have to kill yourself. It's like, oh,
yeah.
Why are we doing this? Why couldn't someone just tell her this in book 1? Since she was talking to Elena. Anyway. So, for a lot of the same reasons, I think I agree with you.
Thank you.
I also think we must have the same number 1,
do.
Unless you're like...
I also think we have the same number 1, which is hilarious.
Unless you're, going to throw a real curveball in there.
Yeah, so...
Our number 1 is...
Our number 1 is... Queen
of Shadows!
And we actually did do this completely independently.
Yeah.
So Queen of Shadows is my favorite book in the series. Of the, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5?
Yeah.
7.5 books that exist in the series. Queen of Shadows is my favorite. Aelin is a badass. Saves Rifthold. Chaol is annoying as fuck. It has the absolute best. The reunion scene between Rowan and Aelin is absolutely iconic. And they all get Erebin Hamel. He dies. And
he gets what he deserves.
And they do it in the most spectacular way. To me, it is Aelin planning at her finest.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I completely agree. I'm not 100% sure if it's my favorite book of the series. I'll have to read Kingdom of Ash again because that one just is so hard. But it's definitely, if it's not my favorite, it's my second favorite behind Kingdom of Ash. I just love her coming back, putting everything into play in this one book. She plans it all in the book, but then it also all happens in the book. So it's not a setup, kind of like Empire of Storms is. We get the resolution of everything she's planning in the same book, and I think that's the part that really made it my favorite, because it's not just set up for the next one, it's also she's planning, and then it all happens.
Yeah. We get to see the outcome of her plans.
Exactly. So yeah, I love Aelin.
Yeah.
Absolute favorite. And yeah, I feel like during this podcast, reading these books, I even realized so much more how awful Erebin is than I did just reading them and not dissecting it. Yeah. So his death hits even harder in a good way, because I'm like, what an absolute piece of shit.
He is trash.
Yeah. So loved that. Great book.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So looks like we both left out The Cruel Prince.
Yes.
And Divine Rivals.
Yes.
So valid.
Yeah. I'm not surprised by The Cruel Prince. Divine Rivals, I kind of had on the edge of if I wanted to put it in, because I liked the writing of it. It was very I don't know, I liked the author's writing. But I haven't read the second book, so I can't really I clearly don't care enough,
Yeah.
or I would have read the second book.
Yeah. And if I'll be honest, I feel like, I don't know, maybe we learn a bit more about things in the second book, but I just felt it was big on promise and not as big on delivery. Mm-hmm. Like the title, Divine Rivals, makes it seem so, like, you know what I mean? Like, it makes it seem like it's going to be this really epic book.
And I do kind of wonder if that happens in the second book, though, because, like, all the ways that it was pointing towards, like, I don't know, is she going to be, like, a goddess of some kind, and, like, he's now taken over? Like, I have theories, but clearly not enough that I care to read it yet.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And The Cruel Prince, meh.
Yeah, we just didn't really enjoy it. I was hoping I'd be able to get into the next ones, but even with the audiobook, I couldn't get through the second one.
It's too much politics for me.
Yeah, that's my issue too, and I get that, like, it goes somewhere good that I would enjoy, but I don't know if it's because of the political climate of our times. I don't want to read about politics.
Yeah, me neither.
Even though, like, some of the books we did read, I guess it's the way that the politics are, like, I don't know, there's so much more in your face in that book, I guess. Because, like, there are obviously politics in some of the other books we've read as well. And that we, like, put highly. But I just feel like there's so much more important in that book. And, like, you have to learn and pay attention. And my third one that I left off was Tower of Dawn, because I hate it.
Yeah.
That's not actually true. But I like the other books better, so.
Yeah, I left off Assassin's Blade because in my brain, we didn't really do it.
That's fair.
So yeah, that's our top 10 year in review 2024. Done and dusted in the books. Get it in the books. Oh my god.
So funny.
I am hilarious. But yeah. 2025, hopefully we've got a bunch of fun things to come.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess we're gonna wrap it up. We're wrapping up. Well, I guess it is 2025, so we've wrapped up 2024. I hope everybody had an awesome New Year's, and I hope 2025 is going to be just as fantastic for all of you as it was for us. Yeah. So if you want to get in touch with us and share your thoughts on anything you heard in our episodes, or if you have any book suggestions, please reach out to us by email at coffeeandcoread@gmail.com or on Instagram or Facebook at coffeeandcoread and coffee.coread on TikTok.
So next week, as promised, we're starting a new book. We're going to finish off the Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy and read Kingdom of the Feared, which might have been a bit of we might have had a few little hints of that while talking about our favorite books of this year, of 2024. So we're going to start it off the second week of January, and we're doing chapters 1 to 6. So make sure to follow along. And if you're enjoying our chats, don't forget to follow, rate, and review wherever you get our content. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you on the next page.